Let's talk about the Chiefs beating the Chargers in dominant fashion after key adjustments were made in the second half that allowed LA to score 0 points. Travis Kelce also had the second best game of his career, Rashee Rice is continuing to shine, and the defense is by far the best of the Mahomes era. However, they suffered an unfortunate loss of a key player who needs surgery and will miss the next 6 to 8 weeks of the season. So let's talk about it. But first, how about those? All right, let's get right into this game recap and the biggest takeaways because there was a lot that went on. To start things off, the Chiefs got a key stop on the Chargers' opening drive via this nice George Karlaftis sack on 3rd and 2, forcing the Chargers to punt for the first time of 5 total in this game. The Chiefs responded by converting on this 3rd and 6 with the catch being made by none other than Travis the GOAT Kelce, who was a problem all day long for LA. Then this electric 50-yard screen pass to Jerick McKinnon, who took it to the house, was called back due to a block in the back by Joe Thuney, wiping the touchdown off the board. Mahomes then connected in rare fashion with Sky Moore, though Mecole couldn't snag this next one. Mahomes later admitted he could have thrown the ball better based on the coverage, and therefore KC had to settle for 3. The Chiefs secondary had a rough time stopping Keenan Allen and company early in this game, though, as well as the run. If we're going to be honest, LA was able to march down the field, converting this 3rd and 7 to Joshua Palmer, but then Willie Gay took that personal, making a huge play on 2nd and 8 on a blitz that was so well done, Herbert had no chance to do anything and pounded the ground. That set up a 3rd and 21 where Charles Omenihu was able to get enough pressure to force an incompletion, and the Chargers also had to settle for 3. And this is where things get pretty wild because these next 4 drives all resulted in touchdowns after the Chiefs were able to move up near midfield thanks to a Tony catch and a couple more by Kelce. Patrick Mahomes ended up connecting with MVS up the right sideline on a scramble drill, and Valdez-Scantling was able to use his speed to get into the end zone for a 46-yard touchdown. MVS actually had a route that took him to the opposite side of the field, but saw Mahomes scrambling the other way and did a great job of moving with him and finding open space on that play. The Chargers felt left out, though, and wanted a 50-yard touchdown of their own, which happened just a few plays later after they converted on 3rd and 8 to keep the drive alive. Then, a couple plays later on 1st and 10, running back Joshua Kelly had a career-long 49-yard sprint to the end zone after some nice blocking from LA mixed with some poor play by KC. But with that, the game is tied at 10 each with KC's turn to respond, and respond they did as Mahomes hit Kelce for back-to-back big plays. The first was a 13-yarder up the middle to move the chains, but the very next play was a 53-yarder that had Kelce crossing the field and running down the left sideline all the way to the 6. And while Mahomes said post-game that a younger Kelce would have scored there, it didn't matter because the young Rashee Rice helped finish the job in the back of the end zone. Another incredible sequence by the Chiefs here. LA then proceeded to have almost as crazy of a drive going all the way down the field with a big Palmer catch that brought the Chargers all the way down to the 9-yard line. Then Gerald Everett was able to get the job done, scoring a touchdown with Joshua Williams in coverage, tying the game back up at 17 each. And these 4 consecutive drives took just 20 plays, then went for 300 total yards and 4 touchdowns in just under 10 minutes of game time. That's an absolutely crazy back and forth second quarter, and it was actually the Chiefs that broke the touchdown streak when on 3rd and 12, Patrick Mahomes threw a deep pass down the left sideline to Mecole Hardman, but unfortunately he wasn't able to get all he wanted into the throw due to pressure bearing down from the Chargers, and the ball was thrown short, resulting in an arm punt of an interception that flipped the field. And Patrick Mahomes told the media after the game to not look at MVS on the tape because he may have been wide open. So he self-admittingly missed it there on that play. The Chiefs defense held up strong though thanks to a sack by Charles Omenihu, his first of the season in his first game back after a 6-game suspension. And Omenihu said that his first sack in KC was a surreal thing and probably the happiest moment of his career. And you love to hear it. Anyway, that sack created a deficit the Chargers couldn't overcome, and the result was a punt with roughly 3 minutes left in the half that backed the Chiefs all the way up to their own 3-yard line, I think it was. Rashee Rice helped quickly with that, though, catching a quick pass and taking it across the field for 37 yards. Kelce was next up for a couple more catches, followed by MVS for his second grab for 28 yards, thanks to this incredible sidearm flick from Mahomes as he scrambled to the left. An offensive PI call on Justin Ross backed the Chiefs up, though, but ultimately it didn't matter because Travis Kelce drew a defensive PI call shortly after that, which brought Kansas City up to the 1-yard line. And even though Kadarius Toney was open for an easy score on the next play, Mahomes went for the quick pass to Kelce, and he was able to lift the ball like a maniac over his head while holding onto it and fell into the end zone for a 6-play, 96-yard drive, ending in a touchdown, bringing the score up to 24-17 at the half. And before we get into the wild turn of events in the second half and a crucial injury to the Chiefs defense, I want to give a quick shout out to Underdog Fantasy, the season-long fantasy sports partner of the channel, and to let you know that for a limited time, their special is still going strong for new customers who use code HBTC at sign up or click the link in the description. If you do that, Underdog will match your first deposit of up to $500. It's normally $100, but the special is still extended and will match your first deposit up to $500, as well as provide a pick'em special in the lobby that results in an easy W to help you earn up to 20x on your money. There's a ton you can do every week during the season, from pick'ems to drafts, so make sure to take advantage of that while you can, because again, this is available only for a limited time. All right, now the second half of this game is where things take a bit of a turn as both teams began to make adjustments to begin limiting each other's offensive production. And honestly, the Chiefs were still marching down the field with ease on the opening drive of the second half, converting on 3rd and 2 thanks to none other than Travis Kelce for 15 yards. Mahomes kept it moving with the first down scramble of his own on 3rd and 7. And with the Chiefs nearing the red zone, Blake Bell unfortunately dropped the pass that was somehow ruled a fumble after review. And just like that, the Chargers had the ball with the opportunity to potentially tie the game up rather than KC making it a 2-score game. And after that call was reviewed and confirmed, I don't want to hear that the refs always help the Chiefs. Shut your mouth. Anyway, LA was doing a great job moving the ball up the field, going 11 plays for 73 yards, and just when it looked like they may indeed tie the game up, because this catch by Joshua Palmer moved them up inside the 10, Charles Omenihu exists and would not be denied as he batted this Herbert pass up into the air and into the awaiting arms of L'Jarius Sneed. And this is where things take an interesting turn, because after Mahomes scrambled for roughly 18 yards on 3rd and 15 to move the chains, the Chiefs punted shortly after Mahomes got sacked on 3rd and 10, the only time he was sacked all game. And the interesting turn of events I'm talking about is this game going from a high-powered offensive battle to a defensive masterclass, because the Chiefs defense was playing 0 games here heading into the fourth quarter. On 3rd and 3, Nick Bolton made an incredible play, forcing a 3-and-out. CEH then had a ball bounce off his face mask, then rushed for 7, but Mahomes overthrew Rashee Rice, which resulted in a 3-and-out for KC as well. The punt was centimeters from being blocked, and thank God it was not. With 12 minutes left in the fourth and the Chargers trailing by a touchdown, they proceeded to go 3-and-out once again, because on 3rd and 7, the ball hawk Mike Edwards nearly jumped this route and picked it off. Pacheco then had a beautiful 30-yard run up the right side that got negated by a Trey Smith hold. Dang it, killing the momentum. And even though KC got a couple of first downs, thanks to MVS and Travis Kelce, surprise, surprise, they had to punt shortly after, failing to convert on 3rd and 9 after Kelce was pissed after failing to come down with this back shoulder throw from Mahomes. And this next play is where I have some sad news, because while Nick Bolton made yet another fantastic tackle here on first down, Keenan Allen landed awkwardly on Nick Bolton's wrist that instantly left him on the ground in agonizing pain. You could tell just by looking at him that something was seriously wrong. I thought maybe a fractured wrist, but I am no doctor. And it was revealed after the game that he suffered a dislocated wrist, and per Tom Pelissero today, Nick Bolton is going to need surgery, and he's going to miss somewhere around 6 to 8 weeks. A tough loss indeed for the Chiefs defense. I'm definitely glad the Chiefs signed Drew Tranquill this offseason, because he stepped up big during Nick Bolton's ankle injury for a few weeks and will be asked to do so yet again. I just hate to see it for Nick Bolton, one of the leaders on this defense and a guy who truly loves the game, to have to go through surgery and miss a couple of months of the season after already missing 3 weeks previously due to that ankle injury. And this means a 6 to 8 week recovery time, as we said, but that's going to put Bolton out until sometime in December. The good news here is that if he recovers on schedule, Bolton should be back for the Chiefs' postseason run, which would be fantastic, all things considered. Anyway, I'll keep you updated if I hear any updates, but we got to get back to the game, because Herbert and company were once again forced to a 3-and-out thanks to another linebacker and Willie Gay Jr. batting down this pass on 3rd and 5. And on this 5th and final Chargers punt of the day, on the same day that Dante Hall was inducted into the Chiefs Ring of Honor, Mecole Hardman decided to return his one and only punt of the night and ended up weaving his way around a couple Chargers special teamers and sprinted up the right sideline for a 50-yard return in the X Factor's honor. An incredible play that had the entire team leaping off the bench in excitement. And you know Hardman had to be juiced up about it. Think about it. His offseason season was spent in recovery after needing surgery. Then he had a disappointing 6 weeks in New York that featured them barely playing him at all. Then he arrives back in KC with a chip on his shoulder, proving he's still got what it takes. And man, oh man, this punt return was electric. You could also argue that this play was one of the main ones that helped decide the game once and for all. Then after Rasheed helped move the chains here after this punt return, Hardman came up huge again, same drive. 3rd and 7, where Mahomes targeted him on a shallow crosser that not only set up a first down, but that then led to a Pacheco screen pass touchdown to bring the Chiefs up 2 scores, 14 points. A crazy thing to note on this touchdown play is that Mahomes actually told Pacheco out loud to make sure to block Derwin James, I believe it was, who was showing that he was blitzing, but that was a total ruse, a lie, a mere distraction to ward off the threat of a screen pass, and it was executed perfectly. So with 3.5 minutes left in the game and the Chargers trailing by 2 scores, Justin Herbert knew it was do or die time, and Drew Tranquill, the former Charger, had an incredible pass breakup on 1st and 10. Then Mike Dana sacked Herbert on 3rd down, but somehow, the Chargers converted a first down on 4th and 16, keeping the drive alive. Then after Joshua Palmer helped move the team past midfield, Drew Tranquill came through on a blitz and sacked his former teammate in Justin Herbert, which backed them up and helped Justin Herbert feel pressed enough to try and force a pass to Keenan Allen that was picked off by safety Brian Cook, which resulted in a dominant Chiefs victory at Arrowhead that puts the Chiefs ahead of the division by 3.5 games as they move up to 6-1, and the Chargers fall to 2-4. And believe it or not, the Raiders are actually second in the West at 3-4. Meanwhile, the Broncos are at the bottom, little cellar dwellers, at 2-5. And if the Chiefs can extend their win streak over Denver next week to 17 in a row, it will almost surely have them locking up the West for the 8th season in a row. That win also means the Chiefs have now won 13 consecutive games versus AFC West opponents, and they are 44-6 versus divisional opponents since 2015. Insanity. And this was quite the win for Kansas City. Not only did the offense put up 31 points, but penalties kept them from scoring even more. Think of the Jerick McKinnon screen early on in this game that was negated, and the Chiefs ended up kicking a field goal instead of getting that touchdown. Mahomes went scorched earth on top of that, completing 32 passes on 42 attempts for 424 yards, 4 touchdowns, and just 1 INT. That was actually Patrick's 5th career game with 400 plus passing yards and 4 plus passing TDs, making him just the 4th QB in league history to do so 5 or more times. Only Peyton Manning with 8 and Dan Marino with 7 have more such games in NFL history. This is wild. He also now currently leads the NFL in completions, 185, in passing touchdowns, 15, while ranking 2nd in passing yards and 4th in passer rating. Then Travis Kelce racked up 12 receptions for 179 yards and a touchdown, and those 12 catches matched a career best and tallied his 2nd most receiving yards, 179 in a single game yesterday, 2nd only to his 191-yard outing in 2021, also against the Chargers. He is their biological father. On top of that, this was the most receiving yards he's ever had in the first half of a game, ending Q2 with 137 yards. This is actually back-to-back 100-plus yard receiving first half games for Kelce, which is pretty insane to think about. Also worth noting, MVS is back from the dead, catching 3 passes for 84 yards and that 46-yard touchdown. Next, the rookie, Rashee Rice, keeps showing out, this time catching 5 passes for 60 yards and is on pace for close to 750 yards or so on the season. And while the Chiefs' run game was non-existent, the running back room had 17 carries for 39 yards, which was a 2.29 yard per carry average. Pacheco did catch 4 passes for 28 yards and a touchdown. In total, Mahomes had 10 different pass catchers snag a ball, had plenty of time to throw against a very talented defensive line. So shout out to the Chiefs O-line for that. And the offense had themselves a day. On the defensive side of the ball, Aminuhu's return proved to wreak havoc as the line totaled 17 pressures yesterday. Herbert was under pressure on 41% of his dropbacks and sacked 5 times. The defense also adjusted well in the second half, forcing 2 interceptions with 3 straight 3-and-outs sandwiched in between both of those interceptions. Willie Gay made plays, so did Justin Reed, Nick Bolton as well, and how about Drew Tranquill with the pass breakup and sack on his former teammate Justin Herbert. The Chiefs defense continues to prove themselves to be elite as they are tied for 11th best in preventing touchdowns in the red zone, 8th best in total yards allowed per game, 6th best in passing yards allowed per game, and the main stat, they are the 3rd best in points allowed, allowing an average of just 15 points per game, And if that wasn't enough, they've also held every single opponent so far this season to 21 points or less. I am personally at a loss for words with this defense, guys. If they keep playing like this and the offense starts looking more like they did yesterday, the Chiefs are about to be potentially hosting their 6th AFC Championship game in a row at Arrowhead, and unless they completely collapse or suffer a bunch of injuries, I don't see why they don't have a legitimate shot or a very strong chance at returning back to the Super Bowl. Of course, the season is long and there are a lot of great teams out there, but I'm feeling very good about this team at this point in time in the season. And with all that being said, I want to get your thoughts on this game as well as your biggest takeaways. Do you guys feel like the Chiefs are indeed trending up on both sides of the ball at the right time? And then I'd also love to know your biggest concerns as well you feel still needs addressed. Definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Wish Nick Bolton a quick and safe recovery on his wrist. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?